Okay, so you can see here I've got a satellite image of the area of your site showing, well, it's good to have the surround. So we've got Sydney Park here and the canal down there, which is an important local feature, Alexandria Canal. And then Euston Road obviously is the street you're on. The scale, you can see down here I've got on 50 metres, which is on the large side. If you zoom in, you'll see it'll go to 20 metres, and then once more it'll go to 10 metres, which can be a good scale to pick up any detail that you need. But to begin with, I'll take it back out. Because this is a large building, we'll take in the nearby buildings by getting it at that larger scale, 50 metres. So that's what I want to capture, and with control print screen, it'll put that onto the clipboard. You want to know where print screen is on the keyboard? Hopefully just above insert. And then in Photoshop, when you go to make a new file, file new, you'll see if you have something on the clipboard, it'll pick that up as a preset and use then the width and the height of your clipboard. So I'll click OK to make a new file, and then edit, paste, and it'll put whatever's on the clipboard into that window, and you can see it fits exactly. So I'm going to save that, and like I said, I'll save it so that you can get to it in interior design, ID modelling, and I'll put it in still into that Revit Alpaca project folder, and straight away I'm just going to save it as a JPEG. This isn't for presentation, no one else will see it but you. And maybe we'll call it Euston Road Satellite, and I'm going to put the scale 50 metres, 50M, because we may get some at larger scales. Don't worry too much about the quality here, just OK. And now in Revit, I'm going to start from scratch. So I'm going to make a new file on the main menu, and as always use the architectural template. OK. And I'm going to remind you about bringing the drawing file in first before we get to that satellite image. So we've got here the Euston Road AutoCAD file, which you can all get to. And I'm going to select the ground floor, type W, enter, browse, and this one I won't save because you can get to the original file. And then I'll put it into just one of my folders. So Euston Road ground should be good enough. I'm not going to change anything else, just OK. And then in Revit, I'll just straight away duplicate my ground floor view by right-clicking on it, going to duplicate view, and then just duplicate. And then right away, right-click on copy of ground, rename, and I'll call it ground floor with DWG. On the Insert tab, I'm just going to use Import CAD this time because we don't really need to have it linked. So I'm going to go to Import CAD, browse, find the file, there it is. And most important option there is current view only. So hopefully you can remember that, but if you don't, that is the critical option. And while you're at it, it doesn't hurt to set the units to millimetres. We know that's what they should be, so in case the original file was imperial, which is often the case, that helps. And then open, and then we know it'll come in the right size. There we go. And so from that point on, I can model over those walls and be pretty confident that, that things are basically the right size. And I'm going to do a few walls to help me with the next part, getting the satellite image in. Measuring this wall, you can see it's shown at the moment as a 150 wall, which probably isn't far off. So using the wall tool, you've got the generic walls. They're always a good starting point. And I will straight away edit type, edit structure, oops, sorry, cancel, duplicate that, and we'll call it just generic 150mm wall. Edit the structure, change the thickness, obviously, to that size. And very roughly just draw in a few walls, making sure I change the location line to finish face exterior. And now I can trace pretty quickly over just the front part of the building for now. So I'm going to go all the way down to here. That's, again, just to get an outline. I'll pick up this part of the back. Again, it just will help to locate things, and maybe we'll get that back wall since we've got it. Good little trick there. If you notice that your wall's going to the wrong side, space, flips. So I've cancelled it, unfortunately, so I'll go and draw that again. But again, I can draw from the bottom, going to the wrong side, but I know I've got the right option for location line, finish face exterior. It's just that the wall happens to be going to the opposite side because I'm drawing anti-clockwise. Space, again, we'll flip that, and now everything's working. So I can just trim the corner. And the front wall is a curtain wall. So I'll go to the wall tool again. And for now, I'm just going to use storefront, which is one of your pre-made curtain walls. And it's pretty rough and ready, but I can just trace over the line of the glass there. Don't worry that the wall is going to go to one side of that. Again, it's just to get a rough idea. This is normal with curtain walls. The glass goes towards the outside of the building. So I can trace these lines, or to make it easier, use pick lines and try and pick those AutoCAD lines and flip the wall as necessary to make it face the right direction. So using the arrow there in the middle. Okay, so when you go to tidy this up, you can go to Wireframe, and then you'll be able to see the difference there. So the glass line is set back from that, but I don't think this is drawn correctly. This is a standard way of showing curtain walls with the mullion and the glass shown centered, but in reality it wouldn't be built this way. The glass would be closer to the outside than the inside. So I'm happy to leave it like that for now. And then in my 3D view, you can see we've got the basic outline. So I can go to my site plan now and see where I've located the building. And that's essential. At this point, you should be thinking about the elevation views, which we've got on the outside there, along with the section line. And they're all positioned pretty well, again, in relation to the building, so I'm happy with that. So I'll go ahead now and duplicate the site view, just by right-clicking and choosing, again, just duplicate. You don't need to use detailing. Again, rename, and I'll call this one Site with Image. It's going to be our satellite image. So now back on the Insert tab, and then clicking on Image, I can browse to find the satellite image that I've just saved. There it is, Euston Road And I'm just going to click to one side to place it into this file, so I can see it clearly without the building getting in the way. And looking at this, you can pick up a lot of things. The scale is there because I've left that in the image, so I've got the scale down the bottom here. We know the size from that. And also Google Maps or Google Maps is always to true north, which is very useful when we go to set up the sun. All I'm worried about though is at the moment is the scale initially. So if I measure, just to show you how it's working, I'm going to measure with the tape measure between these two centre lines. Notice I'm measuring to the centre, not to the edge of the line. So it's 3554.5. It's a pretty arbitrary size. So I'm going to scale this now to make it the right size by selecting the image, and this is the part you really need to do properly. When I click on the scale button, I can then go from the centre of this line and again measure to that same point, again to the centre of the line on the right. That's picking up the initial size. And then I'm just going to move it to the right a bit further and type in the size I want it to be, which is 50,000. Enter, and now that is 1:1. Okay, and so if I drag that now down to have the building that I've drawn located near the satellite image of it, you can see just visually that it's basically the right size. The problem now is that it's rotated the wrong way because, like I was saying, it's set to true north. Our plan isn't, and that's a good thing. We don't want to have all of our plans set to true north, just some of them, and we'll use the true north view for that later. So this image can be rotated to project north, which is what you work with when you draw your plans. By clicking on the rotate button, you can drag that base point anywhere, and essentially you want the front of that building to be straight. So I'm going to drag the base point onto the bottom corner of the building there, on the image, not the one I've drawn. And then you can see that angle that comes from the base point. I'm going to snap that to align with the front of the building on the image. So that's my base angle. Then I'll bring that around to make it vertical and drag it. You can see it's actually, well, I think the drawing's okay, so we've got the first floor overlapping. So I'll leave it like that for now. Remember, the first floor is a bit bigger than the ground floor. So going back to AutoCAD, let's get the other level, which you can see is larger. So I'll bring that in as well. Select it, W, enter, browse, and let's call it Euston Road first. Or actually, I'm going to call it level 1, just because I'm fussy and I like things to go in order. So back into Revit, and again import CAD, not link CAD. And I'll go back to the folder I was in. There we go, 284, there we are. Okay, so the options there are still the same. Current view only, import units on millimetres. Now I'll show you a good trick here. You probably noticed that I didn't duplicate the view this time. And I did that just to show you another way of doing it. So level 1 is the only view I have for that level at the moment. So I'm going to go to duplicate view, but I'm going to choose duplicate with detailing this time. If I choose duplicate, it'll copy without that drawing. Okay, so if you haven't been using Revit a lot recently, it might not be clear to you that there are 2D elements and 3D elements, and the 2D elements only get copied with detailing. The drawing's a 2D element. So I'll rename this new view just like before and call it level 1 with DWG. But now, because I put it into the first level 1 view, I've got to go back and delete it from there. That's fine, because if I go to the other view, again it's a 2D element, an overlay, and so therefore it's copied into the new view as a separate element, and I can see it there obviously still in this view. And I'm going to just move that. I've got to think a bit about how this lines up. It's been a while since I've looked at this building, but I'm pretty sure that wall is lined up with the one below. Yep, that's basically right. So I'm just dragging it roughly by eye, and it can give you a good idea how, not dodgy, but how wrong AutoCAD drawings can be, because they're not necessarily coordinated between your levels. And so in this case, you can see straight away that things don't line up exactly, but it will be close enough for now if I move using this corner of the drawing and snap it to the inside corner of the wall that I've drawn from the ground floor. And you can see here it sticks out. That is absolutely fine. So I'll go ahead and draw some more curtain walls now. Tracing off obviously the AutoCAD file. Not worrying too much about the height at this point. That's easy to adjust afterwards. So let's just go back and draw that. Okay, because obviously viewing the building from above, this is going to be what it looks like, the shape of it. Oh no, that's the balcony, but, or is it, that's the balcony, isn't it? I haven't been down there recently. You should know, but it doesn't really matter. It's just so that I can see the shape of the building when I look at it in satellite view. Okay, so back to my site with image, and you'll see then, okay, I wasn't that far out, and things do start to make sense here. So I'll just nudge this down. It's getting better. The satellite's a bit pixelated, so it's never going to be perfect, but that's fairly close. Okay, so you can see there that this part at least lines up fairly well. Another thing you can do with these images is go back and just check that measurement. Using the tape measure, I'll snap to, again, the centre of the line. It's about 100 mil off, 49,901. Okay, so a good thing to try there is scaling it just a little bit more. So I'll click the scale button, clicking on the centre point of the line, going to the centre point at the other end. And again, typing in, well, it was 50,000, so I'm not even going to change that. Just measure that again. Maybe my measurement was out. Yeah, look, that's close enough to 50 metres. There's no point scaling that actually. Right, so it's pretty indicative, but that will give you more than enough to draw things like, well, what would you want to show on your site analysis plans? What's the most important thing you have on your site analysis plans? The site, yeah, so and then what else apart from the site itself? Yeah, that's still part of your site, but what else? Yeah, that's right, anything around your site, so foliage, surrounding buildings, things that can cast shadows to and from your site, views to and from your site, local, important features, so the locality. And in this case, there are really important features nearby. Like I said, the Alexandria Canal, the park. I'd usually indicate public transport nearby, all those things, whether it's a main road or not. And they're all critical things that with every real application you need to include. So that's more than enough now to go ahead later on and use the site tools on the Massing and Site tab to start modelling up the site. Right, but we'll have a look at that later. So I'll finish the video there, and so hopefully you can have a go at bringing in the site image yourself, the satellite image.